We have some huge catalysts coming up in the market. XRP, from its technicals, by the way, we might be at a breakout moment. I'll give my XRP price prediction in this video. And then also Bitcoin, we'll take a look to see its recent price action. And that leads me to the moving averages that I talked about yesterday, that they were playing a pivotal role in what we saw in the stock market, tracking the major indices, the S&P 500, NASDAQ 100, and the Russell 2000. So we'll take a look at those ETFs that track those and see what happened around the moving averages that I was talking about yesterday and what that could potentially signal for today. So without further ado, let's get into right now the calendar, and then we'll move from the calendar into the charts themselves. We'll take a look at the technicals. So what I have for you right here, trading economics, just showing a few things on the day. ISM services data today at 10 a.m. Also at 10 a.m. we have the JOLTS. JOLTS is going to be absolutely huge to watch. Now, mind you, both those major catalysts, I think eyes on labor market is what we're looking for. Services could tell us a little bit more about state of the economy, inflation, things like that. So what we're looking for ISM services is we're looking to see, are we continuing to see expansion where we get numbers above 50 on an index basis, or is it something we're going to start to see contraction right now? I guess it's anybody's call. It's probably going to come in still in the low 50s again. For a lot of these, we're going to have to watch ISM services prices. Hopefully that remains to be a little bit subdued for us. We don't want a lot of movement there. So we'll see. Moving on from that into Wednesday, tomorrow, 2 p.m. FOMC minutes. That could be huge, giving Jerome Powell's hawkishness. So that's going to be scrutinized to get further indication over if the Fed, what they think about inflation itself. Are they really seeing it as something that's going to remain higher? Or are they going to get clues that they think that there's going to be some weakness coming in for inflation or for the labor market? Or are we going to see further strength in either one of those? Yet to be seen. So that's really going to be scrubbed through 2 p.m. Expect that to be a catalyst. Moving into Thursday, we got challenger job cuts. Usually doesn't move it too much. Some Fed speeches coming up, which could be big. So 9 a.m. Harker. And then we have Barkin, Schmidt, and Bowman coming in the afternoon with the Fed balance sheet. Probably to see a little bit more of a roll off on that one. Friday is the big one. Non-farm payrolls, unemployment rate. Those two are going to be huge to watch. Consumer sentiment probably will come in high because the market's high right now. So we'll have to watch those as far as that goes. But JOLTS, the FOMC minutes, non-farm payrolls, unemployment rate, those are all going to be major things to watch this week, along with those Fed speeches to see what exactly they say. Are they still going to come out with a hawkish sort of narrative like we got from Jerome Powell? We're going to have to watch and see. So let's move from there into the charts. There we go. And we're going to kick things off with SPY. And we are pinched right now from yesterday's market in between the 50 in pink and the 20 in blue. And I said that watching that 20-day to see what would happen, watching the 50-day to see what would happen would be huge. We have a full candle close above 50. That is a bullish thing to see. Pushing up above that 20-day is going to show more near-term strength, which we got rejected yesterday, a pretty quick sell down. So today we'll see if that allows us to push up over, or if this is going to turn into a peekaboo moment just above the 50 where we push down. Either way, we want to watch for that push above the 20 to see that we have further upside to this, hoping to break that 610 number, which we couldn't break before. And so I think bank earnings are going to be something that is really going to be impactful there. It might happen this week. It might happen next week. The bank earnings are next week, but we might need both the labor reports and then also the inflation report, CPI and PPI from next week to really tell us more information about that. So for the S&P, watch for that push up above the 20, get a full candle above the 20 as well. Then we're back on time on some near-term strength and momentum. We have an RSI of 50.62 from yesterday, so back into bullish territory for the daily RSI. Moving into the Qs, we took the 20-day yesterday. We got a candle close above it. The volume was decent on it. We just want to see that continued strength up to that upside. We did not overtake that previous peak that we had back here on December the 26th. We want to see that because so far we had a low, then a lower low, and then look at our highs that we have. We have lower highs coming on this. So if we don't keep that 20-day, then watch for that retest of the 50-day. Keeping that 20-day and especially breaking this previous little tiny high that we have here is going to be more of a bullish sign for what we see. The RSI pushing back up above 50 for the Qs. That's a good thing. When we're looking at the Russell 2000, we got rejected off the 20-day, which crossed over the 50. A sign of that death cross from that movement that we saw before. And we have a decent price support right around 218. Really need to push up above those moving averages. If we get another rejection today off that 20-day, we could get that further sell, maybe pushing us closer down to that 200. We're going to have to watch and see what we get. If we make it above the 20-day here, the blue that's right around the pink I'm going to learn my colors yet. The pink 50 period moving average that we have on here is the next one to watch, right around 230. Need to sit fully on top of that to have more near-term upside for it. So let's move into NVIDIA just real quick. NVIDIA yesterday at CES putting out some prices to impress and also some specs to impress. I wouldn't be surprised to see us getting tossed towards the top of this bull channel that we start to see the 160s start to come out in prices for NVIDIA. If we can keep this momentum going, we also have a little tiny gap in here to fill. That might happen at some point in time. You can see some selling pressure as we neared that previous all-time high that we got the day after their earnings. So yesterday I said probably push up above 150. It did close just below 150 today following CES, the CES presentation, which the jokes didn't really land for Jensen. I listened to it and, I kind of felt bad for the guy as he was up on stage. But I got to say, if just that stage performance was the worst thing they has to deal with for right now, things are still looking pretty darn rosy for NVIDIA. So we'll see if we get some continued strength there. Look at that building volume we have on top of the building momentum. Looking very bullish, being up above the 50, the 200-day, up above the other moving averages that we have here. So it's not to say there wouldn't be any price settling, because there could be, but I do think that we have some further upside. I think a new all-time high is certainly on the way. And as a matter of fact, in the pre-market hours, we closed at, 152.89 back on November the 21st. That was our high price. And then in the pre-market, we're actually up above that already. So look for that new all-time high today. And like I said, maybe we start to push on to those 160s, 170s before we start to settle back down in that price. We're going to have to watch and see. Tesla, let me get rid of some of that mess for you. Just look at the moving averages. Got rejected off the 20-day yesterday. Will it come back down and touch the 50? We're going to have to watch and see. We could have some price support right at about 400. We're going to have to watch and see what we get from that. Got to get back up on top that 20-day to have that momentum continue for us. Right now, still looking fairly bullish as we're up above the 50 and the 200, but we want to see that push up above the 20 so that way we don't go back down and retest the 50, but the 50 could be a really great bounce for us if we do happen to get down that way. So Bitcoin, and I will get to XRP in just a moment here, Bitcoin so far clearing the 100,000 mark, and I said yesterday once again about how important the moving averages were, and you can see that we almost came back down to the 50 SMA. Let's put the EMAs up there for just a moment. The 50 EMA is way down there for right now, so I'll hide those again. So for the SMA, didn't quite get there, but darn close to having it as support. This is a very bullish thing to see that happen, and we'll see what sort of retracement we get. We definitely don't want this to be an engulfing candle by any means, but we'll see how far we pull back in that. You can see before that prices get choppy right around that $100,000 mark. I think that we could have a new all-time high coming its way. We'll see if we get that leading up to the inauguration day coming up for President Trump. So let's move on from that into XRP. So XRP consolidation pattern as part of this bull pennant that we have, and we're near the top side. This is looking like a little tiny bull flag built within it, and we just need to push up above that trend line. And I said this before in a previous video that if we break out of that, if we come back and retest and find out this is now support instead of resistance, that's really where we can get that rocket ship coming off of that, setting up for between $3 and $4 per XRP, which could be absolutely huge for us moving forward. So lots of really good charts coming up. Really, we just have to clear some of those hurdles in terms of the economic reports. We got to get past January 15th for XRP, January 20th for Bitcoin, and then the next few weeks that follow could also be very good. We're going to have to see what we get for the crypto markets. As for the stock markets themselves, we really need to take a look to see what we're getting for labor, to see what we're getting for the FOMC minutes, to see what we're getting with the unemployment rate, non-farm payrolls, just a lot of catalysts from us, or for us coming up over the next week and a half essentially here, especially the inflation reports coming up next week. So those are the catalysts to look out for. And I showed you the technicals to also watch out for. If you guys want to see more of what I have to offer you, check out the link for the Patreon down in the description. Click that, sign up, and head on over to the Discord. That's where you'll find me, my technical analyses, my buys and sells, and my community members. We'd love to have you over there. And then also, if you learn to do this technical analysis yourself and get access to the bread recipe trading strategy used by me, developed by Stockmo, there's a link for Stockmo Academy down in the description. You can go ahead and click on that, sign up using the code word doctor. Going to give you a massive discount on that course, and it has a learning community that goes along with it. So any questions that you have as you learn about technical analysis, as you learn to set up the bread recipe, as you start trading on the bread recipe trading strategy and really seeing its successes, or you want to hear other people's successes, there's tons of testimonials to go along with it. Guys, thank you very much for watching. I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education. Remember, my friends, that learning is earning. We'll see you next video.